Hello out there. My name is Laulu Akonde, and you are on to Inside Sources. Today, I'm reporting from the Nigerian Embassy here in Washington, D.C., where the new ambassador, Ambassador Kayode Are, has started a number of series of meetings with Nigerian professionals in the area, something that the Nigerian community actually find anxiety. And also, in this town, there will be a series of events that has to do with Nigeria and U.S. government that Inside Sources will also be reporting in the weeks ahead. For today, I have a main conversation with retired Police Commissioner Fatai Owoseni, and I'm concluding my conversation, panel discussion on security that I started the last edition. Inside Sources will be right back. Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today, I have a guest who is going to discuss a lot of the issues around security. He comes very, very highly recommended. He was the former commissioner of police in the largest police command in the country, that's in Lagos. Was also former police commissioner in Benue State. Has had a tremendous international experience, especially at the United Nations and similar other agencies. I'd like to welcome for the first time to Inside Sources, Mr. Fatai Owoseni. My brother, welcome to Inside Sources.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
All right, so since this is your first time on the show, I will ask you the normal question that I open with, that if you look at where we are today in Nigeria, what kind of future do you think is ahead of us?
I'll start on a sad note, because we have all the potentials to have moved beyond where we are. We shouldn't even be lamenting the way we are lamenting. Sad note in the sense that almost on a daily basis, we have crisis. Or your state where I come from, we still have those children and teachers in captivity with terrorists.
Yeah.
Is it that we don't have what it takes? Are we overwhelmed? Nigeria has all the potentials. Our security team have the greatest potentials. I've been part of United Nations assignment in different countries, and that in all those places, we, the Nigerian police security team, the police and the military, have always been on top of what they're doing. Then when you look at in the diplomatic field, in all the fields of life, we are everywhere, performing wonders. Why is it that we've not been able to translate those wonders to make Nigeria, greater than this? For us to be able to say that we have an ideal society. We remain hopeful. Nigeria has what it takes to lead Africa. Nigeria has what it takes, to compete with whatever nations. And I think the world knows that. And that is why most of the countries in the Western world have always been careful as to what they do with Nigeria, and even the intervention they do with us. Let us remain hopeful. The future looks a bit bleak. I don't want to join that. In 2005, when we were preparing for the election that brought in President Buhari, I was the Commissioner of Police.
You mean 2015?
2015, sorry.
Yeah.
I was the Commissioner of Police in charge of operations in Force Headquarters.
Okay.
I wrote the operation order, and I was part of most of the intervention by the international communities. I saw it. The former American ambassador, Campbell, wrote a piece, Nigeria on the brink of collapse. Somehow, fate always helped us. We did not collapse. I think we won't collapse. If you meet people outside, they would say, oh, this 2027 election, is it going to hold? Is Nigeria still going to be Nigeria? Nigeria has what it takes to surmount all these challenges. I'm one of those hopeful ones. that believe that we have a good future. We only need to, tweak some things. People would say bad leadership. That is 50%. The people themselves don't want this country to grow. And when I say the people, the elites especially, even the common people, like Yoruba will say, most of our common people are àwọn tó ń torí wọn gbààwẹ̀ tó ń jọ̀sán. And what do I mean by this?
Can you interpret that?
Yes, people that you
for
are
whom you
going
are
to
fasting,
go to spiritualists to go and fast for, and they are just living large. And what do I mean by that? Election is coming. People are still, ailing people that still have money, people that have no addresses, people that were nobody before they got political offices or got elected. And of course, these people come every 4 years to come and do vote for me so that you'll be able to cook food. And we continue to clap for them.
Yeah.
We've gotten to a situation where the people must be ready. We should stop talking of bad leadership. It is the way a country is. Every country, just like we used to talk of the police, every country deserves the kind of leaders it has. If the people in this country are ready to rise to say that, no, you cannot continue to fool us, the world will be following us behind. And that is my home perspective.
Very, very, very interesting perspective. And I really value and appreciate your candid views. And this is what we do on Inside Sources, to try and speak very candidly, because, like I said to you before, we don't have another country. Now, I wanted to follow up on what you said. There's actually a trending video. You are from Oyo State. I'm sure both of us are from Ibadan, likely. I'm from Ibadan myself. Some of the folks got semovita, and they were hailing a candidate whose name we won't mention, because of semovita, and they say that they're going to vote for the guys, But I want us to interrogate that. Do you think we should really, really blame those people because their lives has been completely, totally messed up? How much blame do you think, in recess, should go to them?
I will.
Because I pity them. I understand your point.
You are right.
When I look at them and I just pity them.
Poverty.
Do you know exactly?
Poverty has been weaponized.
Yeah.
But we weren't like this. Especially the Yoruba race.
Especially in Southwest, yes.
We weren't like this. We used to rise to occasions. There were days, even before immediately after the colonial rule and before then, there were days that if you do anything untoward, you'll be ostracized.
Yeah.
People would say, don't go and visit them.
Yeah.
And all those things. So
those days are gone.
Where did we get it wrong? Like you said, we're both from Ibadan. One of the reasons why I, came out, everybody will say technocrat. And, I looked at the whole things, having gone around, having seen what our people are going through, to say, okay, let us be part of the system.
Right.
Apart from the frustrating things, the intrigues, the lies, we shouldn't, follow the lies. What I know the Yoruba race is for, to stand for the truth.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we have this situation now where people will go and distribute semovita. How many days would you eat the semovita? And we keep on telling our people that if someone go to sell properties, landed properties, and other properties to contest election, you can be sure that is investing. He will come back to get the money.
Return.
Some senators have been challenged. Some House of Reps members have been challenged to say that, look, since you are elected, we've not seen you. It is after every election period that you come back. And just like something that we've read before, that was attributed to Hitler, that Hitler picked, is it a chicken or a bird? You know, removed all the feathers.
Yeah.
And people were saying, oh, you are punishing
that's
this.
really wicked,
and
yeah.
they said, look, don't worry. And started throwing grains. And, you know, it came back. So that is what they've turned our people to. Should we continue? No.
Absolutely.
I believe it is time for us to think of it for some of us, even some of those people that are collecting semovitas. Some of them have been able to send their children abroad. They are in Ireland or whatever. You know, they are just mere traders. But they refused to, you know, leave that poverty. Poverty is a thing of the mind.
It is.
And when they say poverty in Nigeria, yes, thank God, alhamdulillah, we can feed. But at the same time, when some people talk of poverty, poverty is when probably you close from work as a civil servant. You have been going to beer parlor as you go home to drink 2 bottles of Gouda, to buy pepper soup and say, serve them round. But immediately you cannot drink 2 bottles of beer. It's now 1 bottle of beer. You say poverty. Some of the people in the public service don't earn their wages because the government has made it so. It's in our own public service that someone gets to work at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. Once it is 12, you see them go to the Federal Secretariat. I was there in the Police Service Commission. They start moving around. In some other countries, you sweat, you earn your money. We should even now be thinking of our reward system. Should we continue to say, oh, you just go to the office every morning, you cross your leg and read newspaper. You are paid the same salary or even higher salary than the guy that is toiling around. Let us use a reward-based system, performance-based system to reward our workers so that we know that if I work for 12 hours, I will earn, you know, for my 12 hours. Not that all of us go to the office to go and spend 8 hours. One person is just walking around for that 8 hours and is rest assured. Even when you talk of elevation, promotion, like we used to say in the police, that some people will join the police and they will say, look, if you like, go for every operation you want to go. I know that from where I come from because of quota system. I know because my name is on top of you in the staff list. Even if I don't do any operation, I'll be promoted. Or some people are just carrying bags to follow political office holders and their wives, and they have been promoted. So you will see frustration. We must change all this. These are the things we need to look into.
Absolutely, and I'm really getting the vibe, and I like the vibe I'm getting for you that, you know, we need to question all this. So I wanted to ask you, I mean, you have tremendous experience both nationally and internationally. You know, by the way, I want you to tell us a bit more of some of the things you did internationally, because I recollect that you were also in the UN when the joint AU-UN mission was being set up and all of that. You know, I want you to give a hint of that, but tell us, because I see that you seem to also be interested. You threw your heart into the ring. You know, tell us why you did that and how did it pan out.
You see, for your states, we've been part of it. Yes, I did my primary and secondary school in Ibadan before we started moving around. I've been all over, and I can say that you know, I've followed the development in Oyo State. I can't say that it has been, you know, one person or the other adding value, except in few cases. We have a Lagos, whether anyone likes it or not. Lagos has been a model for, you know, good transition, for value addition, because they have a plan. In Nigeria in those days, we used to have 5 years development plan and all those things. In Oyo State, you see, I've seen the progression, especially in this maybe third, fourth republic. Governor Lam Adesina came, Baba Kolakbo Ishola, Governor His Imperial Majesty, Governor Rashidi Ladoja, the President Olubadan of Ibadan, and of course Governor Akala came, even right from Chief Bola Ige's time, may so rest in peace, up to the present government. One thing that has changed, we would give it to Governor Seyi Makinde, continuity. Some of the things Governor Ajimobi left, it continued. And Oyo State seems, to be progressing. We've always called ourselves a pace-setter state, but there's still lots to do.
Absolutely.
Oyo State is sitting on, very big wealth. Is it mineral resources or whatever? Oyo State can be self-sustaining. We shouldn't even have any business to be running cap in hand to Abuja.
Center.
Look at the revenue Lagos is generating. Oyo State can generate that and surpass it. What is it that we don't have in Oyo State? Yes, the present governor has tried with infrastructure, but we can take Oyo State beyond that. I believe, and one of the reasons, having worked as a technocrat since 2019 up to a few months ago when I resigned, I believe that we can take Oyo State higher. That is why I had a conversation with Governor Seyi Makinde that, so yes, we've been running away for it. And the former Vice President, Osinbajo, mentioned it. If everybody is saying politics is dirty and we keep running away, so he's going to correct it. We need to give the coming generation, that hope, mentor them that there are some good people, that you could have leaders that we, govern with conscience, with the fear of God, and of course, giving the utilitarian thing, giving the greatest good to the greatest number of people. Oyo State can be self-sustaining. We could even, forget about the minimum wage, reward our public servants better. We could make, private schools to be a matter of choice. Governor Ajimobi, during his days, may so rest in peace, put Mama Akonde as the chairperson of Oyo State Education Trust Fund. First lift were given to certain schools. Islamic High School, there's one, the other school in Molite. If you look at the building, they can compare. So why can't we, improve on that? And that is what we are thinking. Some of the roads that Governor Seyi Makinde has done now, for the past 50 years, they've not touched them. Should we, now fold our hands and, start reinventing the wheel? Or people that will come with politics of antagonism, take years to say, I'm probing this, I'm probing that. We could take Oyo State higher than that. Oyo State, like I said, can be self-sustaining. Let us improve on what the past leaders have done. Value addition, as far as I'm concerned. But unfortunately, it's looking as if the state is not ready. It's looking as if, the idea to perpetuate, oneself in power is the agenda that is being followed now.
Yeah, you ran for the primaries in PDP?
No.
Or APM?
No.
Okay, tell us what happened.
Because I worked with Governor Seyi Makinde,
yes.
who was in the PDP before they moved to APM. I was one of the people that, have been shortlisted to say, for continuity's sake.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the governor has his personal decision to make. He chose to do some other thing. I resigned. I went into a court party.
Okay.
And of course, it was within a short time.
Yeah.
Getting to the party, yes, purchased the expression of interest and the nomination form, did the screening. Everyone know that I was a policeman, and we should be able to look at the intelligence report around us. So going to the primaries, I also found out that the state structure of the party, including the national secretary, had been more or less purchased. And just a night before the thing, I've gotten intelligence report that somehow they are going to have
So they did Magosha.
two parallel primaries. I expected it. I've been around. So
yeah.
it's not new to me that they're going to run two separate primaries. Do I want to get myself involved in
that,
the dirty politics without integrity? No for me. I want to get involved, but
serious.
not to, lower than the fear of God and all those things. So if you're going to have two primaries, one that I know was sponsored by some money bags, and another one by the national headquarters of the party. So if I get involved in that and they are two primaries, you have two candidates, you'll now be fighting all those nonsense things.
Yeah.
So because of that, I said, I'm withdrawing from the primary. Let us see what is happening. And as we envisaged and with the intelligence report, two different primaries were conducted to such extent that, funnily and sadly, they even attributed figures to me to say I took part in one of the primaries after I'd made a press release that I would do. It's a very sad thing.
It is.
And I think INEC, the regulatory agency, is also not helping. As of this moment, let us call a spade a spade.
Absolutely.
Everything that is happening now, Nigeria is becoming headquarters of aberration and absurdity.
Terrible.
Everything that is happening now ought not to have happened. Campaigns supposed to start in September, right from the federal system up to the state system. Everything that is being done at the federal level is what the states have been replicating. We shouldn't be having what we're having now. If you are talking of breaching and violating the electoral law, INEC should stand up to that. INEC, unfortunately for us, we've not been able to have, such person that would say, this is the law, I want to keep to the law.
Okay.
So if you continue to do that, we'll continue to have the nonsense. But I still strongly believe that, no, we won't give up. We'll continue to talk. We'll continue to say truth to the authority until we get it right. And I know that some Nigerians who are also interested, yes, a lot of people are scared. People just want to, let me enjoy myself.
Yeah.
So I don't want to rock the boat.
Okay.
But some of us should say this to
Absolutely. And I wanted you to detail that, just to show that we have a number of very decent people that are trying to get into politics, and I'm going to say to you, please don't relent, because like I said, it's our country, we must find a way. But I want us to come back to the issue of insecurity. You are from Oyo State, and you were the security advisor to Governor Makinde and all of that. How do you see this thing that is happening currently? Those teachers and pupils, actually one of them beheaded. How does that make you feel as somebody who's forte in security? And you had resigned by the time it happened.
Yes, very sad. Unfortunately, somehow, it was barely a week after I resigned that incident happened. But that has not stopped me from following up with what they are doing, because the people in security, the security commanders, were colleagues, and we've been talking. It's not just about Oyo State. Nigeria is one country that don't listen to, signals. Like I started, are we overwhelmed? Can we solve this security problem? I believe we can solve it. Everyone knows what we did in Lagos State. For now, without prejudice, I may be taken up. We don't have commitment and people going with passion to wear uniform. I can say that for now, maybe 45 to 50% of the people that are wearing uniform just go there for the sake of there is no other job, for the sake of they just want to earn a living. not the commitment. Unlike in those days, when you want to join the police, you want to join the military. There is the ethics, there is, the tradition of the system. You are going there to go and save. So can we say that of the people that are there now? Yes, most of them, some of them are committed. And why am I saying this? I met a system in Camp Salem House, Molini, as a young officer working in the Department of Operations. Those senior officers who we were told, and I saw some of them. And I will mention Odozi Obodo case, that famous, herbalist and whatever, that the first CID of those days investigated. We had people who sacrificed, who went to that place that is now Ebonyi State, risked their life to go and join Odozi Obodo because they wanted to get to the root of how he has been killing people. And of course, why am I even saying that? The fella expensive shit thing. How did expensive shit came about? I was in that same halagma. It's because they arrested fella Nicola Pokuti, may so rest in peace.
You're talking of the late 70s.
Yes. I've not joined the police, but I read the file.
Okay.
I read the case file of Baba Olowo treasonable felony because we wanted to learn. And what happened then was that when fella was put in the cell, he started telling the guys they met in the cell that these people, they no sabi anything. I no go shit for the next 48 hours so that they will not be able to get evidence. And we had detectives then who volunteered to be thrown into the cell as if they are suspects. I mean officers. Wow. That was the passion then. They volunteered to be treated as suspects.
So that they can
were
get
in the cell.
Evidence.
The inmates, the people in the cell did not know that they were officers. No, they listened to fella. And after about 48, 72 hours, when fella eventually shit, because of the passion they had, they went to pack the shit so that they can send it for forensic analysis in order to get the evidence required. That is where fella came up with expensive shit. We don't have people with such passion again.
Anymore.
When we were in Lagos, I tell people, I was the commissioner of police when we arrested Evans. And I used to tell people that Evans wasn't the biggest criminal for me in Lagos, because Evans did just 1 or 2 kidnappings while I was in Lagos. And Evans will go for people he knew very well, people that he knew can afford to pay $1 million US. The biggest criminal we had in Lagos was a boy called TK. It was on the basis of that I was deployed to Lagos in 2015. TK was just one small boy who had a strong team, who even, had infiltrated the police communication system.
Wow.
They will go and rob banks. Between 2014, 2015, they will rob banks, kill police and whatever. He went to Ghana to go and even rob there.
Wow.
And because we had a system that was working, the late IG, Mr. Solomon Arase, had, he was funded with the technical platform with which we were monitoring what these guys were doing. And even when his Babalawo told him, don't operate for like about 3 months, because that Yoruba boy that was just posted, they were looking for you. The day the Babalawo told him to come out to go and rob, his plan was to go to Benin Republic, to go and rob banks, rob Bureau de Change in Semeboda. And because we had a system, that is where I fought people that are talking of state police as a solution. We worked with the people, the voluntary policing sector. It is a concept, given to us by the DFID. So we worked with the people in Lagos. We collaborated with them such that when TK built 3 boats with which to move from Ijagemo around Festac to go to Benin Republic, we monitor bit by bit on the water and everything. We collaborated with the custom people at Semeboda,
Okay.
with the local people, the local hunters. You cannot rule that out. A whole society approach. So it got to the border, inside the water, with 3 boats. We've been told from the intelligence gathering that this guy would go with 3 boats. These are the color of the boats. It came out. And of course, the local hunters, the police, the custom people, they joined together. There were 17 that went for that operation. We've heard that TK said, look, except my leg don't touch the ground. If my leg touch the ground, nobody can kill me or eliminate me. We've told the local hunters that. And they collaborated with
got
us.
him on the water.
And since then, you know, that 17 of them were dealt with. Benin Republic Police came to Lagos to come and thank us. We got like 250 pieces of dynamite. 3.
So did you get him on water or on land? You didn't finish the story.
No, there are certain things that we should. We
but you got him.
We made sure that his leg did not touch ground. 17 of
That's what
them
I'm
went for that operation.
So-
the 17 of them did not come back.
Oh, wow.
And since then, I can boldly say that Lagos has not witnessed, you know, that bank robbery since 2015 when that was done. So why am I saying this is that we had the capacity. In Benue State as well, the farmers had us clashes. I worked with a vibrant team of police officers, the special forces guys. Coincidentally, when these boys were going to be trained in Belarus with the military, I was the principal staff officer to the IG. They went together, fantastic men, you know, precision and everything. So if we had all those resources, human resources, where are they? But unfortunately, if you go now, they will say, okay, the material resources are not there. Even the military, yes, they may not want to speak out. Do they have what it takes to confront these things? But we can confront it. It's not overwhelming. We can do it. We can stop this with the willpower.
So the argument is that a lot of the insecurity that we have is because state governments have to take orders from the IGP in Abuja, okay, and that things get delayed, that you need to be able to decide completely in the state, you know. So, but you don't sound as if you support state police. I wanted to ask you why.
I support state police. It's an idea whose time has come, but that is not the solution. I disagree as to the governors had to get instruction. The Constitution is very clear. There are 3 positions mentioned in the Constitution. The position of Commissioner of Police that is deployed to the state is not supposed to be interfered with politically. And that is why the Police Service Commission is supposed to have members that are not politicians. The IG will only make recommendation. I'm talking of myself now. As Commissioner of Police, in the 2 states I commanded, and everywhere I had worked, I take the initiative. I discussed with the governors I worked with. It is not true that before a commissioner take an action, that commissioner must be a stupid person. Any commissioner of police that says that he has to take instruction from the Inspector General of Police to solve the crime problem in the state, and the governor is also following that, then the commissioner of police is not fit to wear the uniform. Because as commissioner of police, you are the one that will be assessed if anything is happening in your state.
But you do know that happens, don't you?
No, sir, I did not do that.
No, yeah, you did.
Yes.
But I'm saying that you know that exists.
Because those ones are lazy people. And of course, the governors that are also given, the governor has the primary responsibility of law and order in the state. And if it is about law and order, not other extraneous issues that are political, if it's with regards to law and order, apart from the fact that a commissioner should not wait, apart from I've said it before, that governors don't have business running to Abuja. You have everything. Even the issue of constitution or whatever, the Police Act gave rooms for certain things that the state governors can do.
Council, yeah.
Yes, now, the police council has been made to be moribund. Why do they have police council? It's because they feel that the police should be independent. That is why they don't call the president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces and the police, because the police perform military duties as per their function. They call the president chairman of the police council, and you have all the governors of the federating state as members.
And the IGP too.
Yes, but that has become moribund.
Why in your view is that?
Because I would say the political leaders, most of them are gaining from the redundancy of the Police Service Commission. The Police Service Council is one of the constitutionally created body that should be meeting quarterly, that a governor can come to the council and say, this is what this problem I'm facing. The Inspector General of Police should be made to submit his policing plan to the Police Council, and it will be benchmarked on that. But
that is not happening.
Yes, and the framers of the Constitution, the willing commission that brought it out, is because they envisage that we may need the police to be independent. I don't support the idea. It is just for mere control that most of our governors are saying, look, state police, they are talking of bridging the Constitution, just like I mentioned to you. Which Constitution? Section 214 of the Constitution has already been breached by the establishment of the civil defense. The civil it's only in Nigeria that civil defense carry weapon. When they were going to set up civil defense, it's the hatredness of the police. You had a police where you took out EFCC, NDLA, road safety or whatever, and you took all these minute organs out of it, and you fund those minute organs more than their grandfather. How does that work?
Thank you so much for this very insightful conversation. And clearly, we have to continue this conversation because I can see clearly that you have very deep-seated perspective that has not been sufficiently brought to the open. And we will continue to do the engagement. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your service. As a top police officer in the country and then internationally. And thank you for your, contributions even in public service after your retirement.
Well, thank God.
And thank you for coming
to us. And I should thank you as well. You are a veteran.
Thank you.
If at this stage, but all of us, we need to mentor the people that are coming to be able to say the truth, forget about whatever.
Absolutely.
In this life, you will get to where you will get, whether
Absolutely.
you say the truth or not. And nobody's life is in the hands of anyone. All our lives are in the hands of God Almighty.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Very important point. Thank you so much for coming to Inside Sources.
Bros.
All right.
I'm very grateful.
And there you have it. We're going to come right back with this final segment. Don't go away.
April of 2016. We went to the National Assembly, we locked down the National Assembly, and we were invited, two of us spoke before the Police Affairs Committee of the National Assembly. As far back as 2016, you see, we were calling it genocide. We have the placards, we're calling it genocide. And up to the massacre in my local government of Guma and Logo on 1st of January 2018, that massacre that led to the mass burial in Makurdi, where the then President Buhari never wanted it to happen. But the then Governor Otom went ahead to conduct the mass burial, if you remember.
Yes.
Yes. In that mass burial, in the program of the mass burial, in the program and at the cemetery where they are buried in Makurdi,
yes,
the signboard is site for the burial of the 82 victims of Fulani genocide. So we've been calling it genocide, but a lot of people have not been paying attention to this until when the United States and some other places started calling it genocide. We've been calling it genocide because that is exactly what it is in Nigeria. Okay, now, we're talking about, I say they are built on three foundations. Ideology. Laolu, the biggest of these problems is hinged on ideology. But there was a sort of an inverted pattern to distort the truth. They started calling it farmer sellers crisis. At some time, they call it climate change. At some time, they call it communal clashes. It's quite funny, like in Benue, when there are killings and you call it communal clashes, because communal clashes means a clash between a community and a community.
Yeah.
Like Ife, Modakeke.
Yeah.
That is communal clashes. So we don't have any Fulani settlement. Which city it's a Fulani city in Benue that you see communal clashes. When my cousin, Peter Akira, in Yerota, when they came to Yerota and killed his wife in August of 2021, with 4 of his children, obliterated the rest of his family. The next day, the children were aged between 2 and 8. They came around 7 p.m. in Yerota when the woman was just struggling to cook dinner for this kid. They were hovered around the fireplace, and these guys shot and killed the woman and 4 children. And then the next day, in the news, I heard your then senior, Femi Adesina, describing the killings in Benue as a farmer, that there was a farmer-headed crisis. So it give us nausea. So that is the ideological side. The economic side, these guys have been using this kidnapping to raise funds for their jihad. For their jihad, they are waging. And look, from the statistics of Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, NBS, it says between May of 2024 and May of 2025, 3.2 trillion naira was paid in ransom. 3.2 trillion naira in a year was paid in ransom. Laulu, that's like $2 billion. That's according to statistics from NBS. Where is this money? Why can't government trail this money? That's huge amount of money. That's like budget of many countries. Why it's 6 times bigger than the budget of Benue State of the current fiscal year. So why can't government trail this money? That is to show you that there's lack of political will. And why is there lack of political will? It means that there are sponsors of these insecurities in government. And how do you locate these sponsors in government? The people who call these criminal elements as our brothers. Part of the sponsors, those who call them prodigal sons, because these are not brothers, these are not prodigal sons. They are criminals and should be treated as such.
Okay, so Dr. Okoro, we've heard what Mr. Frank Uto, media relations for keeping the persecuted in the U.S., who himself is from Yewata, his own analysis of, look, these problems have political, economic, and ideological foundations. Now, so have we come, in your own view, to a situation where government has to be much more brutal, possibly engage the constitutional powers to enforce a state of emergency where things can be done without having to be constrained by whatever the constraints are? Are we at that point, Dr. Okoro?
We passed that point long ago.
Wow.
We're supposed to have taken that step before we get to where we are now. But the question I always asks, does the number one have the political will? What he did not mention is the critical factor of the political will. As long as there is no political will to address these things, the force, the quantum of force that is required to deal with insecurity will still be lacking, because if there is the political will, then the president will be willing to support its armed forces and police and say, go out and do whatever is required to achieve this. Number two, the president will provide the quantum of resources that is required. Over the past couple of years, the military have told you, and it's not, the truth is blown there in the way that there are no releases. Huge budgets are announced, but they are not released to the military. They are not released to the various security agencies. So that's the second one. Having the political will, ensuring that even the funding is provided. We have passed that level of talking about emergency rule long ago. We should have been there. But without calling it emergency rule, is the president willing? Because it's an election season, is the president willing to stick out his neck? Because see, let's be honest, these criminals we talk about, if you see them, you know that they are not the ones in charge.
Yeah.
You know, they are the big dogs behind them. There are forces behind them. And the state should have, at this time, been able to identify who are these forces and taking them out. But in an election year, will the president risk re-election to deal with the forces? Because as he go after these elements that are in charge, are causing this crisis, there's going to be a pushback, which any politician will be afraid this might cost me my election. I think that these are some of the issues: the issue of election, the issue of political will, even the provision of resources. So it's not just to say, for instance, if the government will have the will, for instance, to say, okay, we don't have enough manpower to address these issues. Let's bring in reservists. Let us say those who are retired over a period of time, come back, come and join us. Let us say we suspend expenditure in some other areas and put money into security. Is the president willing to do that at this?
So, have we gotten to the point, in your own view, where we need to confront these issues through a state of emergency, a constitutional state of emergency, where the president is not constrained?
Well, again, we should have had state of emergency a long time ago, because this problem have gotten to a level that it needs extraordinary government attention. But then you ask yourself several questions. Is the president willing and capable to deploy that political will? Because state of emergency means that whatever needs to be done to have security in this country will have to be done. Does he have the capacity and the will to say, go after these people? He's told you there are ideological issues, there are ethnic issues, there are religious issues, there are economic issues. So when you declare a state of emergency, it means that you are willing to confront all the issues, all the powers that are behind insecurity in Nigeria, because whether you like it or not, there are powers that are behind insecurity. And then is the president also willing to fund a state of emergency? Because right now, most of the budget that were made, there are no releases, even for the military and for the other aspect of governance. There are no releases. What it means is that when you say there's going to be a state of emergency, it means that government is going to be willing and capable to pump all the resources into providing security. So there are issues that we have to, not just to say declare a state of emergency. Is this government willing and able to provide the resources, the support that is required to drive a state of emergency?
Okay, good point. Before I revert to Frank, who's going to have the last word, do you think the intervention of the Americans is helping us? And if you think so, how? Because, I mean, that is one area that, people like Frank have been working on.
No, it is salutary. We must commend the Americans. And I must not also forget here to commend the Nigerian security forces, the security elements. I know that they are operating under very difficult environment in terms of inadequacy of materials and all that, the equipment and all that they require. But they are doing great. But you see that the support of the Americans have yielded very wonderful result with the recent elimination of what you call this guy, Manuki, was a very salutary achievement, because it sends a message to others that we are coming after you, and that is what government should be, to tell the criminals you are not safe wherever you are, we will get you. Now, I would want to ask that if it is possible, we can also ask the Americans to support us in all other areas, in confronting kidnappers, in confronting other bandits, because I see that they are focused on
the insurgency.
On insurgency, yes. So we can still ask for some support. It has shown that we are incapable of dealing with kidnapping, of dealing with banditry. If the Americans can then come down to that level and assist Nigeria, it will be salutary. Because right now, the terrorists know that it's no longer going to be business as usual. If the second in command can be taken out like this, it means that we can galvanize the capacity also to address other criminalities at that level, if we can get the kind of support that we require from our friends.
Okay, excellent. Frank, so you're going to get the last word, Frank, I want you to be free to make comments, but I want you to also include this in your final comments. How much more help do you think we can get from the Americans? Frank?
Okay, immense help, immense. Just like doctor in the studio mentioned, we in Nigeria, we are deficient in manpower, in our security architecture. In the military, in the police, we are deficient in manpower. So we can augment that with getting adequate gadgets, devices, and weapons. This is not even the jet age. This is the age of the drones. So we need thousands of drones in our skyline, with few guys sitting in a room controlling these drones, like what's happening in Oyo State right now. Some drones can just go there, scan the place, get the necessary thing they can do, or even take out some of these guys. And he mentioned the nerve agents, the nerve gas, that can be applied in that place. Everybody will go to sleep. They can just come down. So in the absence of commensurate manpower, we can use enough gadgets, enough devices, enough weapons. And now coming to America, Laulu, my biggest problem here is that the Nigerian government at every step of the way is not honest with us and even with the Americans about the challenges we face.
Wow.
Yes, because anytime they come around, they try to make it because Boko Haram has been a name that has been so widely known long time ago. So when they come around, they make it look as if the problem in Nigeria, that insecurity that we're talking about, that genocide that we're talking about, is committed by Boko Haram, because Boko Haram is a name the Americans know. And then ISWAP. But then, Laulu, in Nigeria, there are more than 20 Islamist terrorist organizations. More than 20. Just yesterday, we heard about the Owo massacre judgment in court. It was Al-Shabaab. Can you imagine that Nigeria has an Al-Shabaab cell? Al-Shabaab in Somalia. Nigeria has Al-Qaeda. Nigeria has Ansaru. Nigeria has the Lakurawa. Nigeria has JNIN. Nigeria has the most dangerous, the wicked, the bloodiest terrorist organization in Nigeria called the Fulani Ethnic Militia. Let's not, it's not any profiling. That is exactly who they are. Those are the guys in charge of the entirety of the Middle Belt. I mean, look, every day, not less than 30 people are killed in the Middle Belt, especially majority Christians. Every day, I tell you that every day in Benue and Plateau, people are killed. Every single day. Every single day, people are kidnapped. But we lived with it, so it no longer makes the news. Okay, you see what happened in Oyo? It is making the news because of the concentration of the Southwest media. And but these are the realities that we live with in the Middle Belt. It happens every day. Just 3 days ago, one of my cousins was raped before her mother by 3 Fulani elements in Yerwata.
Kai.
In Yerwata. Yes, she's from Atongu, a nearby settlement. They went to the farm. They tried to go and get some stuff in the farm. And then when they were coming, they were approached by 3 Fulani kids, teenagers. They approached them. They told the mother that they want to rape her daughter. The mother wanted to resist. They said they will kill her. And they came into this Fulani, 3 guys. Just 3 days ago, I had to send money so that the girl will be taken to hospital in Daudi for treatment. So Yerwata itself, when we talk about Yerwata, a lot of people, Yerwata itself is an IDP because anything remote, Yerwata is on the federal highway. So anything 1 kilometer in the interior, it's a no-go area. So these guys, like my local government of Guma, these guys have taken 70% of the local government. So there are a lot of ungoverned spaces in that. Yes, my local government of Guma. When you say Yerwata itself, my brother, is an IDP because there are about 19 different settlements all congregated in Yerwata. They could no longer go to their settlements. You understand?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an IDP camp, Yerwata itself. But we are a little bit lucky because we are placed on the federal highway between Lafia and Makodi, right there on the federal highway. So that is the reality of the whole of Nigeria, especially in the Middle Belt. Finally, these guys, we keep saying from time immemorial that these guys have infiltrated every forest in Nigeria. They are there in the South. You see what they are doing in Edo, in Delta, even in Bayelsa. In Bayelsa, that is next to the river, right? That is by the coast, for goodness sake. Middle Belt has been taken over. Southwest, you see it in Ondo State, in Ekiti State, in Oyo State. Northwest and Northeast are their epicenters. So the truth of the matter is, just like Dr. mentioned in the studio, there's no political will, I keep saying. Why is there no political will? Because the people involved in enabling this are the same people who are engineering the leadership of our country. Yes, many of them are the accomplices. Many of them are they have access to the fact of what is happening, and they know the sponsor, but they cannot do anything because of their personal aggrandizement, personal political elevation. That is just what they want. So it's unfortunate And as I round up, my brother, it hurts me as a Nigerian. I know that Nigeria, we're the most populated country in Africa. We're the biggest economy in Africa. We're supposed to stand side by side with the likes of Germany, that is the biggest economy in Europe, the likes of America, that is the biggest economy in North America, China, biggest economy in Asia, and Brazil, biggest economy in South America. This should be our peers. You could see these other biggest economies of this other continent far up there. Then Nigeria is only comparing itself with Afghanistan, with Somalia, with Yemen, as a country with the highest number of Islamist terrorist organizations. Quite unfortunate.
It is.
And we know that if the right will is there, the president who will come, who will dedicate himself to protecting the country, to sacrificing himself for the country, if he is there, this thing will be solved. But until we have that kind of person, it will persist.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Frank Uto and Dr. David Okoro here in the studio. Okay, just 30 seconds.
Yes, I was just going to add that as I started, that to address this, you can see all over the country there are crises. Is to develop a framework for Nigeria that will enable every community to lead the defense and protection
In their
of that.
own area.
Exactly.
Okay.
Until we can adopt that. That is way better than talking about emergency rule, because emergency rule will not address these issues at this level. So every community should be empowered and allowed to defend themselves.
All right.
When that happens, you will not see all this kidnapping that we're talking about.
Thank you so much, Dr. David Okoro, security strategist, and Mr. Frank Uto, US-based lawyer and media relations for equipping the persecuted from the US. Thank you both for coming to Inside Sources.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right. And I'm going to say this for the just to conclude. One of the leading religious leaders in the country, Pastor E. Adeboye, said that the president should give a deadline to the service chiefs. I think he has now said 90 days. And if they can't deliver, then they should be fired. It's time for accountability. And Mr. President, when we talk about political will, we're talking about you. We will see what you will do. Thank you so much for watching Inside Sources. That's another edition today. Like we always say, Nigeria will be free. It means Nigeria will prevail, because we will not stop talking about the major issues. We will raise all the voices and we will raise them as loud as possible. My name is Laolu Akonde.